let's now populate the reviews with both the user and the tour data. And so just like we did on the tour, let's now make it so that both the tour and the user will be automatically populated each time there is a query for a review. And since we already did that before, I will now give you yet another challenge. Okay? So I want you to go ahead and do it just like we did in the tours, but now for the reviews. And just a hint that I need to give you before you can do this on your own is that when you want to populate two fields, you need to actually call populate twice. So once for each of the fields. Alright? But with that information, you should be good to go to pause the video now and go and try it. So, I hope that wasn't too hard. Let's go ahead and just close some files here. So everything that's not related to reviews, we don't need anymore. And so let's just go to the review model and then implement or pre-find middleware. So we do that on the schema, as you already know. And then, again, we use our regular expression to basically match strings which start with find. Okay, and so again, this is going to work for find1, and all the other find1 methods that are available in Mongoose. And as always, I start by writing next. And now really all we need to do is to call populate on the current query. So this dot populate, and I will now actually specify the options object because I only want to select a couple of fields and not the entire tour and also not the entire user. So remember, we start with the path property, and this one is going to be for tour. Okay, and so again, by specifying tour here means that this field here, which has the exact same name, is then going to be the one that's populated based on the tour model. Well, because that's what we specified here. Okay, so the reference is to a model called tour, and basically it's in that collection where Mongoose is then going to look for documents with the ID that we specified. All right. So we want a tour, but then let's say that we actually only want the tour name and nothing else. So select, okay, and again just the name. And then, as I said, if we want to populate multiple fields, well, all we need to do is to call populate again. So at this point, the query is populated with the tours, and now we need to populate it again, this time with the user. Okay. And now select, and let's actually only display the username and the photo, and not, for example, stuff like the email. So let's say that someone hits the API to get all the reviews. But then we don't want to leak all the details about the users posting these reviews to the client. So no one should really be able to know the private data about the reviewers, like emails. Okay. And so again, we only send relevant data about the user. And in this case, it's the name and the photo. Okay. So give this a save. And if we now hit or get all reviews endpoint, well, then already the tour and the user should be populated instead of us just seeing the IDs there. Let's try that. And here we go. So that's working. We get the name, of course, also the ID, and then the same for the user. So we get the name, but then not the photo. So let's see. Maybe I didn't yet specify the photo property. So let's take a look at that. So the user model, but actually it is there. No, I'm sorry. Of course, we do not see the photo because we never specified any photo for any of our users. Okay, and therefore the only property that actually exists is the name. And so that's what we then get. Okay, and that's actually it. So really simple. That's all we need to do to get all the related data just as we specified in our data model. Okay, now again, just keep in mind that this one is going to add some extra queries. And in this case, it's actually 2 queries because behind the scenes, a mongoose will actually have to query both the tours and also the users in order to find the matching document. Okay, so this should then probably add some time here to the query. So it took 266 milliseconds like this. Let's just, for the sake of experiment, comment out this code and then try it again. And this is taking a lot of time. I'm not sure why. So let's do it again. And so you see 157 milliseconds. And if we now put it back, let's do it again. And again, it takes a lot of time. And so again, I'm doing it twice. But still, you see that it took a little bit longer. Okay, so not the end of the world. It was just like 100 milliseconds more. But when you reach a certain scale, that might make a difference. And so again, I just want you to keep that in mind. Anyway, that's it for this lecture. So let's now move on.